Hey everyone, Heather Williams here from the California AfterSchool Network, and as always, joined by Michael Funk from the CDE Expanded Learning Division. And we're here for another one of our special edition fireside chats with our Lights On Afterschool awardees. So this is the third one we're doing. We've got one more lined up for you all, and this is a really fun time of year for us and we really enjoy chatting with these special guests. They don't necessarily know each other, but they are a handful of our awardees that we just recognized a few weeks ago during our annual Lights On After School celebration. And it's a really wonderful opportunity. Lights On, is this national celebration, and activities are happening all over the country, and kids and parents and communities celebrating. And in California, one of the ways we love to celebrate is to really recognize some of our workforce and the hard work they're doing and um, leading this work, implementing new programs, expanding programs. And so we're going to jump in just a moment and talk with a few of our awardees. So actually, I'll just have you all introduce yourselves. So Angela, I'll turn it over to you to kick us off.
Thank, thank you, Heather. My name is Angela Ruiz-Alvarez, and I'm the manager for the Expanded Learning Program here at Cutler-Orosi Joint Unified School District. And we're located in Central Valley in a little community called Orosi. So very small community. It's my 18th year with Cutler-Orosi Joint Unified School District, and that whole time I've been in expanded learning. And what's great about it is I live here. I grew up here. I went to school here. So this is my home. This is who I am. And so it has been an honor to be able to work that many years in a program and watch it just grow over the years. Even just expanded learning and how it's transformed into something that's amazing. And so 18 years and a few more to go. And I'm so excited about that. I do oversee an ACES program. I oversee a middle school, three elementaries. I also have an assets program. So we're very blessed to have an assets program here also in our high school. And then, of course, the ELOP program, which just changed the way we do after school. It's just enhanced everything that we've done here in our school district. And I was just talking to the ladies before we came on. It's just allowed us to do so much more and to give our kids so much more. And so we're very blessed. And I just want to thank you for that. I think, Michael, you really spearheaded this. And I mean, I could not tell you thank you enough. It's just to hear the students say, I've never ever had this experience before. Something as simple as taking them on a field trip where they see the museum for the first time, to see a dinosaur bones or to see the things that we don't do in Orosi. And so just to be able to give them that experience is just so heartwarming. You know, we work in a district that has very high level. Our superintendent expects a lot of us because she grew up here too, and she wants to give the best to her students. And so we just follow her lead. And with the expanded learning, we've been able to do so much more with our students. So again, thank you for that. Thank you for the award. This means so much because it comes from you all, and it comes from my region. And 18 years and receiving this award, it's just unbelievable. And getting a call from Michael Funk, that was amazing. So just that made my whole day. So after I got scared a little, it made my whole day. But thank you very much. I'm going to pass it over to Callista because I could keep going.
Well, my name is Callista Galliher. I'm really excited to be in this space and, get to know all of you and hear your experiences and also share mine. I work with the Sacramento Chinese Community Service Center, or the Center for short. It's a long name, but we're based in Northern California. We serve Elk Grove Unified, Twin Rivers Unified, Sac City Unified, and Atomas Unified. I currently serve as a coordinator in Twin Rivers Unified for our high school programming and our paid internship program, which hosts juniors and seniors as they get college and career readiness. And then they actually take those skills and they go down to our elementary programs and they tutor and mentor those elementary students in the after school programs. It's a wonderful full circle moment for me. I served myself as an intern, a little bit more west in Davis, but I'm really excited to be bringing this opportunity to the community. We have interns at each of our sites in Twin Rivers, so roughly 23, 24 elementary sites have at least one intern coming. And so what we're seeing is this beautiful blossoming of collaboration with our feeder patterns. Because the interns actually go down to the elementaries that will then, those kids will then go to those high schools, and we
Yeah.
hear wonderful feedback from our littles, fourth, fifth grade, and they go, is the internship program going to be around when I'm older? I want to do it too. And we see the littles become more engaged in programming because they're having their actual peers, right? I mean, I could be in a classroom, we could have our frontline staff in a classroom, but I think them having those high schoolers come in, they really look up to them. And a bonus of this program is if they complete the program appropriately, right? They are offered a position as a frontline staff member straight out of graduating high school. So then we're also expanding our workforce, right? Because then we're getting quality staff coming in right off the bat. And so lots of expansion opportunity there. It is funded by ELOP, so it's a kind of a loophole to serve our older youth since they are directly servicing the elementary youth. So we're really excited to see where this goes. We're about in our third, fourth year of the program, editing some things, CQIing some things, but overall, we're really excited with the momentum. And with that, I'll go ahead and pass it on to Kim.
That is exciting.
Thank you.
So my name is Kim Gaspar. I moved to Paso Robles 30 years ago with my husband and my kids, raised my kids here. It's on the Central Coast, Paso Robles, if you haven't heard of it. And about 20 years ago, I started working for People's Self-Help Housing, which is where I met Ernesto. And they have learning centers at their apartment complexes, and they had a 21st century grant. And so that was kind of my first experience working in an after school program. And it was a lot of fun. Some of my memories there is I would go to the food bank, and then whatever they had there, I would bring back. And then I would cook snack for the 65 kids we would have, which are our district kids in Paso Robles, and kind of more of a family style. There were 65 kids. And then eventually, partnered with the Paso Robles School District. And after about 5 years, then I took the position in Paso Robles. They received 3 ACES grants. So I've been working here at Paso Robles, running the ACES programs, which has just been amazing. Absolutely love it. Just love that we get to take kids now TK, but then it was kinder, and they're with us through fifth. Now we're sixth. Our elementary goes through sixth, and just to have that consistency. I really do love that about the ACES program. ELOP is much more flexible, so there's lots of good things about that. But I really do love the consistency of ACES because I think it's really good for kids to come every day and just build those relationships. So both programs are obviously, they're great. We're just so grateful to have all these funds. So then fast forward a little bit, we get the ELOP money. And so I became the director now of expanded learning, which is encompassing all of our after school. And with the ELOP funds, we are now serving 1,000 students. We were probably at maybe 600. So it's been huge. We're partnering with the YMCA on campus, which I never thought we would do. Boys and Girls Club off campus can be a challenge when you partner, but actually I've been really pleasantly surprised at how well that has gone. And just so incredibly excited and just feel blessed that we get to serve all these families that have been waiting to be served. So I never thought I would see this in a million years. It's really quite amazing that our state people have seen how important it is to serve kids after school. So I just continue to be excited. Been doing this for 20 years, and every day there's just so many more possibilities. Listening to you ladies, it spurs things in my mind. Being on the office hours earlier, I love that because all of a sudden you think, oh my gosh, oh, we could be doing that. I need to check into that. So anyway, there you go.
Man, I want to bottle up this enthusiasm and have it for breakfast.
Mm.
That's awesome. And Kim, the same, I just think about when we were
Ah,
first heard schools were shutting down for COVID,
Mhm.
and things just look really like dark. Like, what are we going to do for after school when there's no school?
yep.
Right.
And I can piece back the breadcrumbs
Mhm.
from how we showed up during that time
Yep.
uh, as evidence that this is a good investment.
Yep.
Yes.
And invest, California did.
Yep.
And I
Mhm.
would have never in a million years
Mm.
realized we could be at this place.
Mhm.
And leaders like you three who do the right thing with the resource.
Yeah.
That's really the treasure here is not all the money you got. It's who you are and your teams that you build and the relationships they have with kids. And that's where the magic is. There's a lot of things that have a lot of money. That doesn't mean they're magical, um, or transformative. Let's use the right word. So we had a great ceremony. It seems like it's been a year ago, but we did have a good ceremony, and it was broadcast on YouTube TV, and we gave you all a link to share with people you cared about and people that care about you, and maybe coworkers, family, and um, I'm wondering what's shifted. What shifted for you or your program after the receiving the award and having the broadcast ceremony? And we've just heard some interesting things from others who received the award for Lights On. And I'm just curious who wants to jump in and just say a bit about what's been going on since then for you.
What I heard was finally, finally, finally they see us and finally they hear us. Being in this business for so long, a lot of times it was like, oh, that's the after school program or that's the child care or however they phrased it. And I think over the years, we've worked really hard to break that idea of being just childcare or just being a fun activity, that we really make a difference in our kids' lives. And one of the good things here at Cutler-Orosi Joint Unified School District is a lot of the kids that were in my program now work for me. And they've seen what it's done for their lives and for their opportunities. And so when we got the award, a lot of us was like, yes, finally we get some recognition. Not that we don't get recognized by our peers here, but it's nice to be seen and it's nice to have it out there. And I definitely share this with all the people who've ever been in my program, who've ever led a program, because I'm just the manager. They're the ones that are in the trenches. They're the ones that build those relationships with parents and with students. And so they were super excited and it's nice. It's very, very nice to be honored. And I got so many text messages and messages from Facebook because it was broadcast on Facebook from my district. And so I've had people who were in our program say, "Oh, all of these things that we used to do in program," and just reminisce about the fun stuff they did in program, either as a leader or as a student. So that was nice.
It's awesome, Angela. Thank you.
I would just agree with Angela in that it felt like and actually it came in a box yesterday, the certificate with a frame, which was beautiful. I have to put that up, but I feel like it's definitely not me. It's the work of everyone in after school that works so hard every day, and the superintendent, my supervisor. Family, we're all just very kind about what we do and acknowledging that and it feels good, and it feels good to let again your staff and your team and your program know that people recognize what you're doing and that you're all working hard and you're all there for the right reasons. And so it was an honor, and it felt really good.
I think for us, it was definitely shocking at first. we, in a good way, right? I mean, I work for an agency where the whole agency works for the love of the kids. And so, we love getting accolades as an agency and things, but it's not what we strive for. And so when we got it, I sat with my supervisor. I have an amazing supervisor. Shout out to him, Oscar, my associate director. But we sat for a minute and we just kind of talked about what this means for our program. And it was the validation that we're on the right track and we're doing great things and to continue the work and to see how, we can use this and like take it to our district partners. Twin Rivers gave us a shout out during our district meeting yesterday, and just, thanked us for the work we're doing there. And it shows them too, because they're our funders, right? So it shows them that their money is going somewhere and it has value and it means something. And so, I think it was a collective, right? And it doesn't feel like a Callista award. It feels like a center award. It feels like a Twin Rivers award. And I really think that everyone kind of adopted the celebration of that. And so it was just wonderful to see everyone come together and everyone be validated for the work that we're doing and we're collaborating on together.
Well, you're all humble. That's been a theme of these fireside chats.
Yeah.
And it means a lot to all of us who are working on the award that it has this ripple effect, because that's really bonus, But let's be clear, you as individuals were awarded because of your leadership, and you'll just have to accept that, and you'll have to look at that plaque on your wall just to remind yourself. But glad to have the ripple effect.
Yeah, I was going to share some similar things. We do, we do this awards process. We've done it for a number of years now. I think can't remember the exact year we started it, but we've been doing it for a while, since pre-COVID. And, sometimes it's a process, it's a thing, but then it becomes real when we get to talk to you and see you all. And it's always fun to hear how it's received and what happens in your communities afterwards. And so appreciate you all sharing that and kind of building on something Michael said earlier. Right. You all are humble leaders. And so this might be a hard question. But this is a Innovative Leadership Award, right? Like we are talking about innovation, and there are a lot of opportunities and resources now, but again, that doesn't mean everybody is doing things with them or everybody's doing really great innovative things with those. So I would love to hear from you all. So this might mean you need to talk a little bit about yourselves, kind of some of what you have been learning about being innovative, when you have the resources or when you don't, and maybe some words of wisdom for other folks that you would like to share out, your leadership words of wisdom. And I'll open it up to whoever feels ready to jump in.
I'll start. I think the one thing that I always remind myself is that you always have to remember that you need to be good stewards of the money that's been entrusted to you, and that everything that you do for the betterment of the student. And so you look for opportunities that are going to broaden what their horizons, broaden what their knowledge is, introduce them to new things. And so every time we talk about what are we doing next, we think about what is going to be beneficial for our students, what's going to help them in their future, what's going to help drive their desire to go in a certain direction. And we always talk about what are the regs, what can we do within the scope of it. But I remember Michael said one time, if it's good for kids, it's good and we can make it happen. And so I always keep that in my mind. Like if it's good for the students, then we should do it because it's the right thing to do. And so I say, as you're coming into expanded learning, there's so much money right now that sometimes it's mind blowing. But be good stewards of that money and know that what you do it for the right reasons, and you do it for students, and you do it for what's going to improve their future. And so every decision we make, we think about that. We think about how does it intertwine with the school day? How is it going to move the students forward? How is it going to get them either through middle school and high school and then off to wherever they go after that? And so I always keep that in mind whenever we make decisions.
I think for me, I think about it's always been about giving them new experiences or experiences that we know they wouldn't have if they were just going home after school, right? So it's new experiences. Um, and I think, getting your staff's feedback, because again, I don't know about you guys, but like I'm getting emails and phone calls and just constant, just being inundated with these companies who do know that we have money. And so trying to weed through that, and then at times you'll get on a call or maybe you'll meet with someone and then they give you this proposal and you're thinking, absolutely not. Like it's just way too much money. Like it's shocking, right? Like is this to come in and run our program? Like it's crazy. And then other times I've been like, I don't think I'm going to meet with that person. And then I do. And then I'm pleasantly surprised. I listen a little more and I think, oh, our kids would really enjoy this. So it's having money is interesting, right? When you don't have money, you get really creative with the construction paper and the glue and the scissors, and you still make it. I mean, I still have the same feeling. Like it's still the excitement of what you can offer students. And you can get creative when you don't have money, but when you have money, you certainly can do more, like maybe offer swim lessons in the summer, different things like that. Um, but just I think, like you said, being good stewards of the funds, because this is a huge gift, and we don't want to get in a situation, which I think Michael had at one point. It's the sometimes you may hear like, oh, they're using it for that, like that. We want to be good stewards. We don't want to make sure that we're paying attention to the amount of money we're spending with companies who may be doubling their price because we know that we have the money. So I think keeping all that honest and in check. And then also for me is getting input from my team, because they're the ones that are out there with the kids and they know what the kids are going to enjoy. And so you're not just throwing activities out there that maybe they're not interested in.
Yeah, I think for me as a leader, it's about giving myself grace and knowing it's okay to make mistakes. And, as a leader, you kind of pave the pathway forward. And sometimes, you're going to stumble in making that path. And I think about that feedback, right? Like you were saying, Kim, and I think that that's huge. I think that as a young leader, my projects and my programs and things, they were like my babies. And so, I'd receive feedback and, the automatic response was that it felt personal because I felt like I
Yeah.
kind of birthed these initiatives, these programs. And now I see the immense amount of value it brings. And we follow that continuous quality improvement cycle, and all it does is improve our programs. And so I think it's that leading with grace. And I think through that, there's that ripple effect too. And I hope to model that for my staff and my teams and our interns, that it's okay for them to make mistakes too. That, oftentimes with expanded learning, we have a lot of perfectionists. And they want to get things right. They love the kids. They want to provide the perfect experience, but it's not always going to be a perfect experience. And, I always tell my staff, as long as the kids are involved in something, they're going to take something home. They're going to take something with them, sometimes for the rest of their lives. It could be a positive relationship. It could be a memory. It could be a new skill set. And it's going to look different every time you facilitate with the kids. And so those are things that, I think about as I go into the world and lead our folks.
I like that.
It's great to hear from each of you, and just to soak in what you've said. And in this past year, I've been using a theme, starting with my town hall at the Boost, our town hall, Heather Light Town Hall at the Boost conference, is this past year I talked about abundance versus scarcity mindset.
Mm.
And it might sound strange, but you can have a lot of money and still have a scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
You can have a lot of money and actually have your imagination dulled. And so when I hear you talk about these things, I hear you, each of you, clearly keeping that imagination central to what's going to spark something and still student-centered. So I have one last question before we wrap up, and I didn't give you a heads up on this, so for everyone's fairness, but you have felt the joy and the satisfaction and the affirmation of what it's felt like to be given this award and to be seen, and you each expressed in some way about how your organization and you're felt also affirmed and seen through this. I just wonder if you want to pass it on, if there's anybody on your team that you just want to say, I just want to recognize so and so. And I realize picking one might be difficult.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want with that question. I guess I'm just inviting you to pass it on if it wants to be specific or if you want to just say something more. But I've said this, the real treasure in California is not the money, it's the people.
Right.
And that's what I just want to emphasize that through whatever you want to say.
That's a
Yeah, that's a big one. I
Yeah.
think your site leads run your program.
Mhm.
They are the kid magnets that bring kids every day, especially at the middle school and the high school level. If you don't have the right staff, you don't have students. And so I think that if I pass this on, I would pass it on to my site leads because they are the face of who I am. They're the face of the program. They are the ones who parents go to who see every day. They're the ones who the parents, bring the fruit to, bring the fun stuff to, who entrust their students to every day. And so I would pass it on to each and every site lead that I've ever had in my program because they've only made the program better as we go along. The second person would be to my current superintendent, Yolanda Valdez. She opened so many doors when she became my superintendent, doors that had never been opened for us. And she made us seen and she made us heard and she put us at the table. I sit now on her admin team. So I see firsthand what is happening and I can make good decisions for my program based on that. And that has transformed our program. So two people, every lead that I've ever had in my program and to my superintendent.
Thank you, Angela.
I would say I was going to say site leaders as well. I mean, they're your right arm, I mean, they're just amazing. I always think, why I can't clone these people. It's hard to find them. They're amazing because they can multitask. They can love the kids. They see the parents every day. School day doesn't do that. We do. They listen to all the very sad stories. Parents want to share everything. Kids want to share everything. They're in charge of all their staff at the site with all the, it's all human related experiences, everything that everyone's going through in life. They're amazing. And I wish I could find more of them. And I'm always looking. It takes a special person to do it. And in a, I don't want to say just in a happy, gracious, creating just a loving environment. I think that's the bottom line is that we want these programs to feel, we want the kids to feel the love. We want them to be, I mean, the homework and the extra activities, but it's just that love, that loving environment that families and kids feel. So I would say site leaders for me.
Thank you, Kim.
Yeah, I think it is also like it's a good question, right? But I mean, I would definitely say, I mean, I shouted him out already, but my associate director, Oscar Bermudez, I don't have very many people in my life that I feel like really believed in me.
Mm.
And I really feel like his leadership cultivated me and really mentored me into the place that I am now. And I think just his willingness to like take a chance on new ideas, and really kind of steer us in the direction of, leading with our hearts. And I just see the trickle effect, right? They see the down effect of that, of just going from him to the coordinators to the site leads to our frontline staff to even our interns, to really create that like positive work environment to keep everybody focused. He would be number one. I would say number two would be our district partners. We're very fortunate as a CBO to have such a tight relationship with Twin Rivers. That's not an experience that every CBO has, and so we just feel very blessed. They also take a chance on some of our crazy ideas. We think about the youth workforce program, right? And that might be a tough sell for some because the interns don't count towards ratios. So it really is literally just an investment. It's an investment in the future workforce. It's an investment in the future of our youth. And they took a chance on it, and it's just, the ball has been rolling. And so I think from there, we're able to see those opportunities, and we wouldn't see those opportunities without that investment from our district partners, without our leadership from our higher ups. And sometimes I do feel like they're kind of the unsung heroes because they spend so much of their time, trying to appreciate our frontline staff and our site leads. And so I really do just want to kind of shout them out and kind of, a little thank you. And I think those would be my highlights.
Well, two things. In my work before coming to the department, yes, site coordinators were so critical, as well as district partners, to what all of you said. And it took a lot of work once I got to the state to influence the development of specific things for site coordinators specifically. And now CAN leads the site coordinator symposium, and we have the site coordinator network. And it's really great to see that take place. Thanks to CAN for that leadership. And it's interesting, Callista, you said, give a shout out to Oscar for believing in you, and you said not that many people have believed in you. Well, now the state of California believes in you, so you can't say that anymore.
Yep.
I'll
I
turn
feel
it back
blessed
to
for
you to
that.
close us out.
Yes. Yeah, I appreciate the calling out of our site coordinators for sure. And I'll give a little pitch right now for our site coordinator symposium coming up in February, at in Long Beach at the end of February. And so that is a space where we really like to bring our site coordinators together to celebrate them, to pour into them, to give them an opportunity, right, for professional development and more importantly, community. And I think that kind of space is how I ended up staying in expanded learning. So when I took a job with Michael many years ago now for a year. It was a 1 year temporary job, and it was actually the workforce that really inspired me to stay um, in this work and in this field because y'all are some really amazing, inspiring humans. And this chat, like many others, just continues to reinforce this. So I really want to thank each of you for what you are doing in your communities, because you aren't just, taking care of kids for a few hours. You are really doing so much for the kids and families and the larger community. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for what you do. And I'll turn it over to Michael for last words.
Yeah, well, it's been a rich discussion, and thank you so much for leading with love and bringing that at the center of your work. And just to everyone who's watching, let's emulate that. Let's lead with love. There's work to do. There's kids that need this more so than ever. Uh, there's kids that are experiencing hunger, fear, insecurity, and they need us. So let's love them, support them, and bring them what they deserve. Thanks to all of you. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Thank you.